Welcome viewers and good morning. My name is Dale, one of the education counselors from Fortress Philippines. For today's webinar, we'll be discussing everything you need to know so you can decide if Canada is for you. The webinar will run about an hour, so if you have questions, please engage with us through the comment section below. We will also have a Q&A at the end of this presentation. Lastly, if you want a free consultation, one-on-one consultation, our appointment link is in the comment section below. We will be pasting the link for a few times during the duration of the show. So today's webinar is presented by Ms. Krystel Valenzuela, Fortress Chief Education Consultant, and I'm sure you will learn a lot from her today.
Good morning. Thanks, Dale, for the introduction. So thank you, everyone who's joining us today. I hope you're comfortable. This program will probably last about an hour. There'll be two parts. The first part will be with me. As Dale mentioned, I have been with Fortress for quite some time. I've been doing this for close to 10 years, if not 10 years. So today we'll be discussing the pathways to Canada, the different opportunities, and the main reason why should we choose Canada. We'll also be joined by our special guest, Ms. Krystel Valenzuela from Confederation College, who'll be discussing their programs, discounts, freebies, and other important information about pathways after studying. So having said that, let's go ahead and start the presentation. Okay. So just to let you know, I won't be able to see your comments at the chat section as I go through the presentation, but just leave it there. Glidale, who is my colleague from General Santos, will be compiling all your questions, and hopefully at the end of the presentation, we'll be able to address everything. If not, then we'll reach out to you or reach out to us for a one-on-one consultation. Also, in case of, I'm sure everyone can relate to this, in case of any internet problems or in case like I have my children interrupt the presentation, then Glidale will be able to continue it for me until I can get back. But hopefully wala naman tayong problems today. So a little bit about Fortress, in case you haven't heard about us or this is your first time to talk to us or listen to any of our webinars. We are an education agency, so our main purpose is to do student placement, is to place students in the right colleges, in the right college, the right university, and to assist them to process their student visa or their study permit. So Fortress is an Australian company, originally an Australian company, and it was founded 26 years ago. Here in the Philippines, we've been operating for 7 years. We currently have 5 offices. We are led by a team, or we are composed actually of a team rather than being led. Now we're composed by a team from different industries, yet we've all managed to excel here at the education industry, and combined we have about 50 or plus more experience in processing visas and study permits. Here in the Philippines, as I mentioned, we've been operating for around 7 years. We originally started with a team of 2 in a 12 square meter office in Makati. And now we've expanded to Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Our main office in Makati is where most of us are located. We also have an office in Ortigas and acts more of a satellite office where we receive documents. In Visayas, we also have an office in Baguio, by the way. We also have an office in Cebu, in Davao, and General Santos currently. So wherever you are, we will be able to cater to you. But given the current situation, I also want to say that most of us, if not all of us, are working remotely. And we've been doing this since the start of the pandemic. We invite students to the office if, let's say, we need to collect important documents, or some people will really want to see that we're physically still there, and that's okay. Here in Southeast Asia, we also have several offices. So our main office is still in Australia. In Singapore, we have our administrative office. We have an office in India, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, and what's not here on the slide is Indonesia. We have several offices in Indonesia as well. Now, each office will have a different focus. Let's see. Each office will have a different focus on which country they send students to. We have a network of over 500 colleges and universities that we are partnered with. Originally, Fortress was a very small company. It was really just two international students that started it out until they sort of formed the reputation of being the visa experts. From that two international students, we now have a network of over 500 colleges and universities across the world. It's not just in Canada. We have partners in Southeast Asia. If you want to study in Singapore, in India, and Malaysia, we have partners there. You want to go to Switzerland, Germany, saan pa ba? UK, Ireland, the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, most of those places, if not all of those places, we will have partners with. But for the Philippines, we have focused on certain destinations. Okay, let's just go to the next slide. We focus on destinations, and of course, because we have such a vast array of partners, there are over 10,000 courses to choose from. The nice thing about studying overseas is that you'll hear of courses that you've never heard of before or are not common here in the Philippines. So let's say there's courses in media psychology. There's also courses in bricklaying. So in Australia, there's actually a course that you have to study for 2 years if you want to lay bricks. So in other countries kasi, if you want to do a certain job or you want to apply for a certain job, they will look at your qualification and your work experience. So there is a qualification for everything. Very rarely will there be a mix match of qualification and job title. Okay. Let's just go to the next slide. Okay, so these are some of our partners that are popular amongst the Filipinos, but and these partners are in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Later on, I'll discuss why we in the Philippines, our Philippine offices, have been focusing on these destinations. Okay, so our country of expertise is Canada, Australia, United Kingdom, Ireland, New Zealand, and what's not here on the slide is also the US. But for the last few years, majority of our students have chosen to go to Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. In the last 2 years, majority, if not, I would say 80% of our students have opted to pursue their studies in Canada. And that is because, let's see, we in the Philippines have identified certain goals that our students have, and that would be affordable quality education, experience of working overseas. So for these destinations, for Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, our students will be able to work part-time while studying and have the opportunity to work full-time after graduation. So that is very important, we found, to our Filipino students. Also provide possible migration options, and this is specific for Canada. And also, some of our students, they don't want to take the IELTS anymore or an English exam, so these destinations will have that option. Also, I would like to say that our counselors, our education counselors, when you get to talk to them, they are experts in all of these destinations, okay? So it's not like in other companies wherein one counselor is only trained in Canada, another is only trained in Australia or in New Zealand, and so on. For Canada, we are partnered with a vast number of colleges and will be able to enroll you in your choice of college and university. Okay, so what makes Fortress unique? Aside from us being experts in all of these destinations, we do free consultations and there are no commitments. So at the end of your free consultation, you'll get personalized advice. You won't just get general advice. In fact, most of the time, before we have the consultation, we'll ask you to send your resume and ID in advance so that we can prepare the possible options for you and the suitable courses, and you'll get a clear understanding of what is the best pathway for you, okay? And what is best for you. On our end, of course, as education counselors, we understand that there are a lot of people that would like to pursue certain passions or certain interests. But of course, our main goal is to make sure that you get your visa. You know that your application is presented in such a way that the visa officer will say, okay, let's grant this person a visa. We'll also look at your budget. We know that it's like the most important consideration in about 80% 20% of the cases, and your desired location and personal objectives. This is also important because there will be a lot of students that will just want to take a specialization or yun na nga, pursue certain interests and gain qualifications for their career paths here in the Philippines. But there will also be some students that will say that once I go there, I don't want to, I want to explore what comes after. And we understand that. So we've made it part of our process and part of our service, okay? So what makes us different from other agencies? Why choose Fortrust? Number one, this is very important. Everyone should know that if you do choose to use a representative, if you do choose to use an agency, Canada has certain laws that say that this representative, this representative, or the person giving you advice about your visa and your application should be a registered immigration lawyer. And of course, us being us, we always try to be as ethical and be as professional as possible. So what we did when we found out about this certain law, we found out about when we started processing visas around 3 years ago for Canada. We were told about this law. So the first thing that we did before we sent in a single application was to find a group of lawyers that could assist us. Why? Because we want to make sure that our students start off on the right foot. You know, you start off your application to immigration, showing them that, hey, I'm a responsible person, I understand your laws, and I am obeying your laws as early as now. So that's the whole reason that we engaged with a group of migration lawyers to assist us and assist our students with their application. Because we have engaged with these lawyers, there are certain fees involved, although we have studied our cost and have kept this to the lowest possible rates that we can. And because we work with immigration lawyers, we have extended our services to include what is called a PR plan or a permanent residency plan for those students that want to see how they can transition from a student visa to permanent residency after graduation. So in this case, we're also able to give students options of studying shorter courses and in effect save more than 1 year's tuition fee. Okay, and that I will discuss in a little bit. Okay, all right. So what also makes us different from DIY groups? Now, these DIY groups are very helpful. I know there are a lot of people that don't want to engage with certain companies, and that's fine. That's okay as well. These DIY groups are very helpful in giving advice. But this, I have to say, I've been doing this. I've been processing visas for Australia, New Zealand. Ano pa ba? Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Canada, UK, Ireland, and the US. Yeah, that's about it. I've processed visas for 7 different countries. Each country will have a different set of rules, a different set of documents. But my training in all these different 7 countries has given me, how shall I say it, as an idea, a core idea of what exactly they're looking in an application. And in processing these visas for so long, I have to say, I still encounter something new every day. So these DIY groups, as much as they are helpful, the advice on it is not always tailored fit for you. It's not always applicable to you. So the advice that you will get from us will be tailored fit for you. I keep on saying that, I know, but that's exactly what it is. And I said earlier that there are still things that I don't know after so long. And the good thing is I work with a team. It's not just me. It's not just your education counselor. I work with a team that has years and years of experience as well. And we get to consult. And yet, if we can't find the answer, the nice thing is we get to consult with our group of migration lawyers and dig up on their experience. So I think that's really the benefit of working with Fortrust. It's not just us, it's really a team that works on your application. And what is the difference between us, because we are a paid agency, you have to know that upfront, and other agencies that process for free? Number one, they can't do your permanent residency planning. Most of these agencies, if not all, will not have a partnered lawyer because a lawyer does cost money. because we have a lawyer, in some cases, we're able to appeal or submit a representative's letter or a rebuttal to your refusal during reapplication. And most importantly, these free agencies, because they can't compute your points or they can't do like a PR planning to project how long you need to study or what's the minimum amount of time you need to study to transition to permanent residency, they will most likely give you the longest study option, which is a 2-year course. So in essence, you do save on processing fees. You do save maybe like the few tens of thousands, but you'll end up paying an extra year's tuition fee, which can range anywhere from $10,000 to around $20,000, sometimes even more, depending on where you want to study. So in pesos, that's around extra spending of 500,000. So you just have to, I think for me, you just have to weigh the short-term and long-term savings that you'll get by working with a migration lawyer. Okay. So what is PR planning? I keep on saying this, di ko naman ini-explain. So this stands for Permanent Residency Planning. And this is sort of like a manual towards Canadian residency. So when you're a resident, that means that you have more or less the same benefits as, or close to the same benefits as citizens. You'll have the benefits of free education, free healthcare. You also get to pay their tax, but then, you in their country, in Canada, you clearly get to see where their tax goes. So what do we look at when we plan for your PR? And this isn't done by Fortrust. We will just get your background and we will forward this to our migration lawyer. And more or less, he will compute. He will see how it is for you to transition, even if it's possible. There are cases wherein flat out, he will say it's not possible for this person to transition to permanent residency. So sometimes our students will just opt not to pursue it. There will be times as well wherein he'll say, oh, this person doesn't even need to study. He or she is qualified for permanent residency right now. Okay, so what else is in there? And this is pretty important because these migration lawyers, they actually study. They go through a whole course. As I said, for each qualification, there's a job, right? They go through a course and to study immigration law. And the nice thing about our migration lawyer is that he has focused specifically on the study permit or the student visa. So that's his expertise talaga. Number one, he will tell us, or he'll give us strong suggestions of what course you should take. Okay, so again, we understand there are certain passions, certain things you want to pursue, but our main goal is to get your student visa approved. So we and he will suggest a course that will increase your chance of approval. Okay, number two, most of the colleges that we work with in Canada no longer require the IELTS, but later on, when you do transition or when you do apply for permanent residency, the IELTS will be required. And he will tell us what score is required because this is the one variable, this is the one item that can still change. Okay, he'll look at your age. So for those that are in my age group, pababa na po yung points natin. Okay, so there is some sort of urgency to it. What type of job you should look for while you're studying, just to get the experience, and also what type of job you should look for after graduation. I find this is very important, that the job that you get is actually in the NOC or in the occupation list that they have. And the duration of your course is also important because the duration of your course will dictate the duration of your postgraduate work permit, or how long you can stay in Canada after graduation to earn Canadian work experience, which also comes into play in your PR planning. And with all of these factors, he will compute your CSR scores based on different scenarios. So example, he will say, if you take a 1-year course, with this IELTS score, you will not be able to transition to permanent residency. But if you take this 1-year course, you work 1 year after graduation, with this IELTS score, you may still not qualify for permanent residency. But if you take, let's say, a 2-year course, work 2 years after graduation with this IELTS score, most likely you will be able to reach the projected score down the road. So that's like 4 years down the road. Ganun yung projection niya. We'll discuss this in detail. It's very specific. Okay, so peer planning, it's like an advanced consultation, really, of how to transition for permanent residency. It's detailed. It's extremely detailed. Usually, it's around 30 pages of details about you and your life, and there are very strong suggestions there as well. And you can keep this. You can even engage with him later on when you want to transition or want to apply for permanent residency. Okay, so what does Fortress do on our end as education counselors? Of course, we'll do the consultation, and here we will give you your best course options. We will give you your options, but ownership of your application is still 100% with you. We'll apply you to the college and make sure that you get accepted. Excuse me. We'll make sure that you get your letter of acceptance and confirmation of enrollment. We'll help with certain clerical things. Just a minute. Sorry, nakamute pala ako. As I was saying earlier, I see that I have a good number of viewers here today. Considering it's a Thursday morning, again, thank you for being with us. And I will say this loud and clear. I hope everyone gets to hear this and gets to spread this as well. Never pay your insurance, tuition fee, or accommodation fee to your agent. Okay? There are very specific instructions in your letter of offer or on the websites of these colleges of how to make the payment. All right. So always make the payment directly to the school or directly to the institution involved. No need for third parties. Okay. And of course, it's very important that you are prepared for your departure. So here at Fortress, currently we're doing weekly pre-departures, especially for Canada, because the rules keep on changing. So we want to make sure that you're prepared. You have all the documents ready. You won't have any problems at the border. And we will bring out the best in your study plan. Your study plan is your only way to talk to your visa officer. We won't be able to write this for you because, of course, this is your story and your conversation with the visa officer. We'll just make sure that everything there is, that it's complete, basically. Okay, just a minute. Okay. What other value do students get by working with a team? I will describe our process to you. It's a little bit more tedious. Some students will say, necessary ba to? But we at Fortress have a very good approval rate. This is my pride and joy. On average, we have an approval rate of 95%. This is across the board. Some countries will publish the approval rate. Like you can look at Education New Zealand and you'll find what our approval rate is. This is because we work as a team, okay? And this is, I think, unique to our company as well. When you come to us, it won't just be one person handling your application. You won't just receive advice from one person. You'll receive advice from so many people. First, your education counselor, whose main expertise is courses, colleges, pathways as well. They will be the best people to talk to about your course selection. Number two, once you have your acceptance from the college, you'll be handed over to a visa expert. And when I say expert, that is what they do day in and day out. We process visas. And I'm actually part of the team. I work very closely with them. There will also be, if there are some things that your visa officer won't be able to answer, we will never invent an answer. We will try to look for it. And as I said, I still do this. I still look for the source through the website of immigration or through our lawyers. Once that's done, your visa officer has compiled your application. You'll then be handed over to a content specialist who will review your study plan to make sure it's complete. We won't do it for you. Again, no, we will not write the study plan for you. We will just make sure that it is complete and that you have addressed everything that is necessary. Once that is done, we then hand over your file to a Canadian immigration lawyer, and we work with the team. So whoever we get assigned to, rest assured they are experts in this field as well. This Canadian lawyer will review your file, make corrections to the forms, and most importantly, make suggestions on how we can improve the application. Sometimes we submit a really good application, still there will be a suggestion because that is his job. So don't be surprised na even if feeling natin ang ganda-ganda ng application mo, ang dami pa ding comments. Trabaho nila yun, and that's very helpful to us. So once we receive the comments, then we improve the application. So that's how we work. Medyo mas tedious, mas matagal, but believe me guys, it is worth it. If your case is complicated, we don't say no to this, okay? If you've had a previous refusal, that's okay. It is not hopeless. If you've had multiple refusals, that's okay. It is not hopeless. If you are a mature student, or let's say you haven't studied in a long time, it makes the application a little bit more difficult. Actually, it makes it difficult, period. But we've had students in their 40s, in their 50s who have had their visa approval. And this is to Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. Because also, education, it's really lifelong. It's really lifelong. It doesn't end even when you retire. We've had some students who are preparing for retirement and have, let's say, they know that they're receiving a certain amount from their company and they want to protect their investment. That's okay. Complex situation. So, kunyari, you're still legally married, but you're in a common law relationship or in a live-in relationship. How do we do that, right? How do we present your common law relationship even if you're legally married? So those things we will be able to work out with you. So more than anything, more than an agency, we're visa specialists. And more than that, really, I have to say, for our team, they take it very personally. They take each and every success personally. They take each and every refusals to heart as well. I know it doesn't really sound so healthy, but for our students, it makes the difference. Looking at the slides earlier, I saw the video loop of these students. It put me in such a good mood. I'm not a morning person. This is not normal for me to be up at, to be cheerful this in the morning. I'm not a morning person at all. But seeing the loop of students, it made me happy. It made me happy seeing that some of them have already transitioned to PR. Some of them have already brought their families to Australia, to New Zealand. So nakakatuwa talaga. Okay, let's see what the next slide is. So, diba sabi ko, we specialize in certain in different countries, but for the last few years, Canada has been like the main point of interest. Number one, because of all the countries that I mentioned earlier, probably aside from the US, Canada is welcoming international students into Canada. So their borders are open. They've been open since mid last year. The good thing about Canada is they're very quick in their response to this pandemic. So they're also quick to change their policy to make sure that the people in Canada are still protected, yet are able to welcome newcomers in. So because of the pandemic, last year, Canada missed their immigration target. So that was 2020. And over 300,000 residents are needed in Canada this year. And there have been changes over the last few years. This, of course, you can find on the internet. So before 2016, you couldn't work. They were very strict with their requirements. The visa approval rate was very low. So it was lower than 50%, if not 50%. So parang pag nag-apply ka, parang suntok sa buwan, parang sige nga, subukan natin. But now, the approval rate is, I will correct this later on, but if memory serves me right, it is around a little over 60%, 60 to 70%. Before the end of this presentation, I'll put it in the chat box kung ano yung approval rate for the Philippines. And there were no clear immigration pathways for international students. Okay, so it is the now now is the golden opportunity to pursue Canadian education. Okay, I had a chat with one of our partnered migration lawyers, and according to the study, it says that around 80% of migrants are currently onshore or are currently in Canada already. Okay, not outside of Canada, in Canada. Why is that? International students are recognized as some of the best candidates to apply for permanent residency. Number one, you're already there. Okay, you're already there. Number two, you have the qualification that you have the Canadian qualification. Number three, your English has improved. Imagine studying in an all-English environment or English-only environment for a year to 2 years. Syempre, your English will improve. Number three, you'll be able to get what's called Canadian work experience. And how will you get that from here in the Philippines, right? So our international students after graduation, or after graduating, they get to work in Canada full-time, and that's what they use for their Canadian work experience. It's ranked as number 5 in the world for quality of education, and it is very important to say that it is the most affordable in terms of tuition. In terms of tuition, taking quality of education into account. Okay, when you study overseas, it's best. The best quality of education will come from the government subsidized colleges or the public colleges. Because these public colleges, like Confederation College, by the way, are subsidized by the government. And you won't get the government funding if you don't meet certain KPIs. Like your graduates have to be employable, they have to, they're basically, your graduates have to be employable, they have to be satisfied, and you meet the standards of education by the government. In terms of that quality, Canada has the lowest tuition fee. So tuition fee range per year for these colleges can be anywhere from 10, 12,000 per year to around 18,000 per year. You look at other countries, for this tuition fee price range, you'll be going to private colleges. Okay, so talagang affordability-wise, you don't look anywhere else. And students get to stay after graduation to work full-time. So if you're a student there, you study in a public designated learning institution or a private college that's degree granting. If you study 8 months to less than 2 years, your postgraduate work permit or PGWP will be of the same duration. If you study a 2-year course, you get to stay 3 years for your PGWP. If you combine 2 courses, you say you do 1 year in marketing and 1 year in operations management, your PGWP can be anywhere from 2 to 3 years. In certain cases, or in a vast majority of cases, you can bring your spouse, and that your spouse will be on an open work permit. So they work full-time, you work part-time. Also, for a vast majority of our cases, children get to study for free, or whatever the locals pay, yun lang din yung babayaran ng international students. Just a minute. Okay. For the school requirements, I'm going to leave this to the education counselors to discuss with you. But don't forget, if you don't want to take the English exam, please ask your counselor about the colleges that offer the no IELTS requirement. Okay. So what's the application journey? How do we take you from here to Canada in, let's say, a few months, in as fast maybe as 3 months, maybe in a year, but this is the usual process. We do the free consultation. We ask all our students, please consult with us, okay? Because the course choice and the course duration will affect the next 5 to 10 years of your life. Believe me, okay? We have students that come to us already with a letter of offer that we will just have to redo, or worse, a student who has already paid their tuition fee for a certain course that is not suitable for them or won't get them the visa application, okay? Once let's say you've decided, oh, sige, Fortrust is for me, we'll then send you a contract, you sign, go through it. It's more or less just like an agreement. All the fees are there as well, para wala yung mga hidden fees and all of that. Everything will be there. Once we have that, we'll then work on your PR planning. So this takes a week to 2 weeks. In peak season, maybe even a month. So at least you're aware of your timeline. Once we have the suggestion of this lawyer, we'll then apply for your school application. We ask you to pay the tuition fee directly to the school. We get all your details, all your visa requirements together, with the help of your visa officer, of course. We then work on your visa documentation. Once Fortress has your visa documents, we'll then pass it on to our migration lawyer, who will do a file review. Will then finalize your application, then submit your application to immigration, or what we call lodge your visa application. Timeline to get your visa can be anywhere from a few days to the longest that we've had is a year. Per average naman, mga 5 to 9 weeks, depending on the time of the year. Okay. Now, to find out how much you need to process how much show money or financial proof of funds you need, we found a very reliable source. So you can compute it through this website. So studydiy.ph calculator, just go on there. It will tell you how much you need to prepare in terms of funds. If you want to bring your family, depending on your tuition fee, how many children you have, there. It will all be there. But approximately 800 to 1 million. So if you want a free consultation, please contact our education counselors to know more. So to get the advice that's, suited for you. And if you don't want to share your questions in the chat below, then that's fine. Take a screenshot of this, take a picture. As I said, we're all working remotely. So you may get counselors, let's say, that are based elsewhere. Let's say from Davao, but are catering to students in Manila, and that's fine. All of them are properly trained and properly equipped to take your answers. But let's say you're more comfortable. I want to speak to a Bisaya speaking counselor, that's fine. We'll find the right person for you. And by the way, because we are working remotely, I suggest that you call the mobile numbers instead. All right. What's our next? What's our next? Dale, in case you have any Q&A questions, you can let me know, and I might be able to answer a few. I believe Miss Krystel is getting ready for her presentation. From here, I'll hand you over to Miss Krystel. She'll be discussing her course options, and she has some interesting pathways after graduation. But Dale, sige, may Q&A questions ba in the chat box?
Yes, I have gathered some questions po. So, mostly may mga questions about scholarship and school. So, are we partnered ba na with
Okay.
Bow Valley College? Yeah, and then
With who? Sino po?
Bow Valley College po.
Yes, we are partnered with Bow Valley College. Yes.
Yes.
And for the scholarships, Miss Krystel will be able to answer that for us.
Yes, and then someone's asking Miss Krystel if they're gonna start their application with Fortress, will they be able to access their own GC key?
Yes, definitely. There are two options depending on the student, really. No, there are some students that don't want to be bothered. So what we do, we make a GC key for each and every student. Then we'll give you the password and we'll give you the security questions. The email address as to where the alerts will go to will be up to you. So pwedeng through Fortress, it can be our email address, and then we'll just tell you, ma'am, sir, there's a message that came in. This is what we have to do next. But some students want to take ownership of their account. We can direct the messages to their email address. That's okay. Whatever the student wants, that's fine. Actually, we prefer that it's in the student's email address. Kasi for future applications, pwede din nila gamitin yun.
Yes. Okay. Last one, Miss Krystel, if regular stream, need ko po ba mag-IELTS pa rin para mag-qualify for PR application in the future?
Okay. The first question, for regular stream, you don't need the IELTS. Okay, most of the time, the IELTS is, number one, required by the school or required for the study direct stream. The IELTS is valid for 2 years. Okay, so later on, during your PR application, definitely you will need it unless the policies change. But it's been a requirement for a really long time. Okay. It's been a requirement. I don't think it will change anytime soon, but you never know, right? For the scholarships, there are a lot of partial scholarships available. Ask your counselor. As I said, the counselors are much more well-versed at it. It will depend on the college that you apply to. A lot of the scholarships also will be given once you're already in Canada. let's say it's based on grades, parang sa atin din, some will be based on IELTS. Okay, so with that, just keep putting your questions down. At the end of the presentation of Miss Krystel, we will answer as much as we can. Ay, nakikita yung kalat. Wait, yeah. So go ahead. I'll leave you guys, and Krystel, take it away. Ang ganda ng background mo with a flag.
Yeah.
Hi, yes, good morning. Can you hear me loud and clear? I think everyone can hear naman. All right. So thank you. Wonderful morning, good afternoon, good evening. I assume that we have guests or viewers across the globe. So we are so psyched that you are here with us. Thank you, Fortress, for hosting this event. And also, hello, Miss Dale and Miss Krystel. What a very comprehensive presentation that you have conducted there. It's actually super duper complete na. All you need to do is select like a destination, whether you want to go to UK, Canada, or elsewhere. And after that, of course, select an institution. And of course, for today, I am going to highlight on a publicly funded institution, which is Confederation College. So once again, my name is Krystel, and I represent the college for the Philippines, Indonesia, and in Malaysia. So I was very I'm very happy to know that Fortress do cover, or they have different offices across the globe, and Indonesia and Malaysia is also one of my arena, if I could use that. Okay, so today as you can see from the screen, this is where the college is located. And probably you might be wondering where specifically is it situated. So as, sorry, can you go back to that previous slide? So you can see yung structure ng location. Can you go back to the previous slide? There you go. So as you can see from the screen right now, this provides you a very dynamic structure. So we've got the air, land, and water, and that speaks about our economic diversity as well. If you are from the aviation, maritime industry, business, education, community, engineering, you are very much welcome to be situated in this community. So later on, I'll be dwelling more about the different programs that we offer at the college. And so where is this college located? It is the biggest, I'd say the biggest population for the international students in Canada. Which province kaya ito? And that is, of course, in Ontario. Where specifically in Ontario, we are located in Thunder Bay, Ontario, or other people, they call this Lakehead or T-Bay. So medyo mas zenial yung approach because indeed this community is also a tourism destination. So what are we going to expect in today's session? So just to have an idea, we need to know a little bit about the community. So most probably you're familiar with the other popular destinations, and I'm very happy to know that we've seen a lot of people asking maybe sa Alberta area and probably Vancouver and Ontario. So I needed to I wanted you to know, to have this visual understanding of what the community looks like, because as mentioned by Ms. Krystel, you're going to invest a lot of your time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears. And you must know kung anong itsura ng location na to. Does it offer you a potential career after you have commenced with your study? Does it offer you PR opportunity? So that's another aspect. And probably, is this a safe place where I can bring my family with me if I want to have an established life in this community? So that is why it is extremely imperative for us to understand what the community looks like, and a little bit about one of the reasons why Confed College is really popular amongst the Filipinos now. It is because of one of the immigration possibilities, which is the RNIP route, or Rural North Immigration Pilot Program. And of course, we're going to discuss about the college and all the services and programs that we offer. Okay, so the next video, the next slide rather, I'll show you a short video of Thunder Bay. Okay. Kindly switch on the audio, please. Okay, so not really sure if you can hear the audio from your end, but right. Okay. Hopefully you heard the audio. There's supposed to be an audio. I'm right. So just like a recap, based from that video, and it just presents us like yung visual understanding of what the community looks like. It's very energetic. It's very diverse when it comes to its population. Of course, from kids to young couples, from single individuals, and of course to elderly. So it's a very vast community. And if you pay attention to the left part of the screen, this is the profile of the community. We're about 90 minutes or 2 hours away from Toronto, 8 hours away from Manitoba. And the other side, we're about 4 or 5 hours away from Minnesota, the USA. So what does it actually convey to us? We are in a very geographically strategic uh, area, right? So punta ka lang sa on that side, you can be in Toronto. The other side naman, Minnesota, the USA. So and also speaks about the economic influx. So people are coming in and out in this community, not only for the domestic tourism, but also for international tourism. In fact, as probably you've heard that last August 8th, the borders for the US have opened for international tourism. Although TB is very strict when it comes to implementing the protocol, so as a result, the COVID case is very low in comparison to other areas, given that this is a tourism spot. And the community of Thunder Bay is trying to again adhere to a very rigorous protocol. So our students, they have to comply with the rules as well. Okay, and another fun fact about this community is that Thunder Bay, we have the third busiest airport in Ontario, and we've got the land port with 12-hectare waterfront site. So a lot of barges coming in and out also in this community. And again, with people coming in and out, this provides abundant part-time jobs for our students. And of course, if they want to establish their life there in the future, there will be also potential employment in Thunder Bay. Okay, so now that we've understood what the community looks like, another key highlight is that if I do want to pursue my long-term goal here, and eventually, if I do qualify for permanent residency, as reiterated and mentioned about, discussed by Ms. Krystel, what are the possibilities? So, if you're a student at Confed College, you need to know that there are different pathways for you. And I myself, I'm not, of course, an RCIC. So it's very fortunate that Fortress, they do have their bona fide lawyers or consultants that could really provide you a sound advisory. But another important information here is that Confederation College, we work harmoniously with the city of Thunder Bay. So last couple of months back, Confederation College, in collaboration with Thunder Bay CEDC, as you can see from the screen, ito yung local government, yeah, for economic report and other happenings, key happenings in the in the city. So they conducted this free webinar with our students. It's such an honor. And the one who conducted this webinar is, of course, Confed in collaboration with CEDC, presented by Miss Laura. Miss Laura works for CEDC. CEDC, sila yung governing body, sila yung nag-approve ng nominee for PR. So very important talaga sila sa atin when it comes to providing this free orientation. And during the webinar, she spoke about RNIP. So ito yung few of the excerpts that we're trying to showcase right now in your screen. And so just to have an idea, I know you're going to have a further consultation with Fortress. But under the RNIP, these are the outright federal requirements that you would need to accomplish. And if we could highlight a little bit in few of the points here, um, if you're international student studying at Confed College or the 2-year program, you are exempted from the work experience. Okay, and another exemption is that you don't need to have some show money. Okay, so another valuable information there. And with a 2-year program, so you could go with a pure 2-year diploma or postgraduate, or you could do like a 1+1. Na mentioned din yun kanina. Like on the first year, you wanted to do postgraduate in, say, human resource, and on the second year, you could go for IBM. That is also eligible under the education or the international graduate category. But with a 2-year program, if it's like two different things, two different program, you would need to have a work experience. But get this, the work experience doesn't have to be in Canada. It could be garnered from your home country or from anywhere else. If you work in the Middle East, US, that could be a category for the work experience under the RNIP. If you are going to apply or you have accomplished two different programs at Confed College, okay? But if you have accomplished, for example, our program in postgraduate digital marketing, marketing analytics is a 2-year program straight up, then you don't need the work experience category under that, okay? So these are, again, the basic elements that you would need to know about when you apply for PR nominee. So during that webinar, the students asked, Miss Laura, so what are my chances if I graduated from Confed College? And and she stated that really good chance. It's such a, of course, such a confirmation, right, to receive that statement coming from CEDC themselves. And she stated that if you're a graduate from Confed, you've experienced living in this community, you've worked here, and at the time of the job offer, your job offer is in the priority occupations, and then you really have an excellent chance. Another fact here is that last year was the first draw for RNIP, and 50% of those who were nominated were from Confed College. That is, again, such a staggering information coming from CEDC. And we're hoping to continue to contribute to the community. And that's why we're so grateful to the Government of Canada for welcoming the students and possibly live their life there together with their family. And just to add here, the priority occupation, it doesn't have to be the same program that you have finished. For example, you have finished program in culinary management, yung offer mo is different. That's okay as long as that your priority occupation, the occupation or the job offer that you have is in the priority occupation. But of course, we'd say better yet, find a job that would be aligned again to the program that you have finished. Okay. So ayun, it's such a great information learning this from CEDC. And RNIP, okay, we know this is a pilot program, similar with Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, wherein it actually expired 2019, but the government extended it even prior to COVID, and now it is a permanent immigration plan, or sorry, it's a permanent immigration pathway, and that is the vision also with RNIP. it has become really successful, for given that it was just it kick started last year. So we're vouching that this would really carry on before the expiration date. And but here's the thing, there are also other possible pathways for you, best basically basing on your existing portfolio. That's why if you're going to work with Fortress and they have their lawyers, their consultants, and they would provide the PR plan for you, that is so critical and so important. Heads up, so you would know which you would qualify for, even before pursuing a program at Confed. So these are the possible entry points for you when you want to apply for PR nominee in the future. So not just RNIP, you could go for EE and of course OINP. Okay, so ayun. So now that we're pretty much convinced about like, okay, so possible nga yung PR. So what's next is that this community, does it really offer me like the possible or the possible pathways for PR? So this is a recent report last August 9th, 2021, and these are the second year candidates. And so 2021, this year, the one that I've mentioned about was last year. 50% of those who were nominated were from the healthcare or and community, and such a conversion this year, nag-spread out na siya. So ngayon, we have different sectors who were nominated. And apparently, those in the food services and accommodation were the most recommended for this PR. And still, nandun pa rin naman si healthcare and social industry. Okay? And as you can see here, the RNIP is really thriving in T-base, so we're really hopeful that this would be a permanent pathway as well. Okay, and another important facet here is that, so we understood now, or we had a chance to see visually through the video and the profile of what the community looks like. And we know that, yep, okay, so there's an immigration pathway. I know it's not an easy route. You may have some, there might be crossroads, but our point here is that we're giving you some heads up information on the potential pathways for you. Okay, so it's just really understanding which one would fit based on your profile. And of course, so not that we understood about that, what about the work opportunities? And we want you to know that you also need to be aware of the key sectors in that community. So it doesn't mean that probably you have a relative in this area, you wanted to go there. What if your profession is actually not that popular or not in demand in that community? So there might be a challenge with finding employment opportunity. So that is an important factor that you need to understand about. And in our city, Thunder Bay, these are the key sectors that we are actually highlighting. And so we've got aviation, forestry, health science, ICT, manufacturing. So manufacturing is a combination of skills, trade, engineering, mining, remote, healthcare, and of course, tourism. Okay. And so as per Thunder Bay District Health Unit, as of August 16, so this is, apologies, this is not up to date. But as of yesterday, meron silang bagong 3 cases, but it is relatively low in comparison, of course, to other cities, despite in spite of the tourists coming in already, in fact. So it started last August 8, right? So it is still a very low COVID case report. Okay, now, so next one would be about the college. So now that we have a glimpse of the community, Thunder Bay, where Confed College is located, so now we are going to dive into the college. So, Confed College is, as mentioned kanina, we are a public institution. We're publicly funded, and and our main campus is of course located in Thunder Bay. We have 9 campuses, but for the international community, they are situated in T Bay or Thunder Bay. And so, as an international students, what are the services that you are going to receive about? Okay, so here we are. We don't need to go here one by one. I understand. I believe that this is pretty much self-explanatory. And but if you could just highlight a little bit on this, we also have immigration lawyers, so you could go with immigration advisory, but that is later on pa ha. So iba pa yung what you're going to receive from Fortress. I highly recommend that before diving into a program that you wanted to go for and finding out that this is actually not a good fit for you or for your PR application. So better yet, do it before you apply for a program at Confed. So what we advise here is on the post na, like the postgraduate, like and other also PR information that you would need to know about. And next one is another important factor is we have a division for employment help, wherein we assist our students on finding out for their work placement and work opportunities and postgraduate work as well. And another important service from our college is that we're so huge on providing free webinars. So if you can see from the screen, it might be a little tiny lang, but we have provided essential webinars, free webinars for our students. And as an example, we conducted a webinar on pathways to PR. We also conducted an employment in Canada in your legal rights. Imagine you just started your classes and then you're doing this important webinars. I personally believe this is such a big deal, and we always encourage our students to attend these free webinars. Nothing to lose, more to gain, right? And so, just to highlight on the services, as mentioned earlier, the employment, we have a separate division wherein it's called the Workforce Development Division. So if you need some assistance for finding out options for your work placement or your internship or paid internship, you could seek out from this division, our Workforce Division. They could help you provide you a checklist of employers wherein you can pursue your internship and co-op or paid internship. And apart from that, we also help you with your postgraduate employment. It's not that we're going to match you, but we do have like different services that we offer. So this is in collaboration with NEW or Northwest Employment Works and Employment Ontario. So just this is an example you can see from the screen on one program called the Developmental Service Worker, and we you can find it from our college website. You can check out the companies that would provide you the opportunity to do or pursue your work placement or your co-op. And at the bottom of the screen, if you can see it clearly, it's the employment prospects. And for employment prospect, it is indicated here that graduates are hired by these agencies in Thunder Bay. And it's amazing that even before you graduate, you would know that you will have some a peace of mind that okay, may possibilities pala. So we do have that services for at Confed College. And as mentioned, so the this workforce division, we work hand in hand with NEW, Northwest Employment Works. You can check it out from the website NEW. It is a service provider wherein they offer the different like services here, specifically ito siya, about your career employment needs, probably skilled labor needs if it's also needed, and maybe if you might lack with some skills, then they can also provide you some guidance on that. And their office is actually located at Confederation College. Andun yung office nila mismo sa college. Okay. And all right, next one. So, our students right now, as mentioned earlier, not only for co-op or work placement, but for the postgraduate work, if the students may need some guidance or assistance, they could book an appointment. Right now, they're doing virtual appointment. They could contact this division, so they could provide a sound advice on what they need to improve when it comes to curating their CV, or probably the tricks on their interview skills. And also they will provide the listing of the current job offerings in Tibet, and not only in Tibet but across Northwest Canada. All right, so that is about one of the few services offered by Confed College. So now that we have established, hopefully, a key understanding of the college, we'll find out. Okay. All right. So this one, I think there's no audio, so I think we can just move forward. In this video, it summarizes the opportunity our students would get to receive if they, of course, study at Confed College. In the community of Thunder Bay. Okay, so can we move to the next slide, please? All right. So now that we have some awareness of what the community looks like and the possibilities, and what the school can offer to you based on the services offered on their Confed, let's dive into the next part, which are the programs. So this is going to be very quick. And the first one is we have the Faculty of Aviation. So it's called the Aviation Center of Excellence. Yep, we do have our own hangar based in Thunder Bay International Airport, and it's approximately 15 minutes away from the college. And our aviation aerospace students get to use and simulate in this facility. And the next one is we have the Faculty of Technology and Trades. This is highly recommendable. As you know, this is, of course, under the priority occupation across Canada, not only in Ontario. And to learn about the different programs offered in these category, we have, okay, we have here, okay, next slide. Okay, so I think it's a little bit small from my angle, but if you can see from your screen, we've got aviation technology, engineering technology, and natural resources and skilled trades. The tuition fee, you can also inquire from Fortress, and they can walk you through about the costing when it comes to the TF and the program fees. And great news, with Confed College, you can also go with term payment or staggered payment. So if you're going to apply via regular student permit, you can settle with a minimum deposit fee. You're not obliged to pay a 1-year tuition fee. Okay, so next one. So that is for the Faculty of Aviation, Engineering, Technology, and Trades. And the next faculty would be Business, Hospitality, and Media Arts. And for this category, the famous courses would be, okay, next slide, please. There we go. So the flagship for this program would be culinary management. And I also recommend this because if you pursue this, there are, again, an array of employment possibilities for you once you've commenced with your studies. And another popular program would be human resource. And there we go. Okay, next one. would be community services and health. And what are the programs that we offer under this category? Okay, all of these programs, you might be wondering, no, we don't offer much. That is for a fact for international students. But one thing is essential here is that our students, when they finish with any of these programs, they have an array of employment offer. So that is, I think, very crucial when you select a program. Will it offer me part-time opportunities? Will it offer me postgraduate possibilities? And that is one thing that you really need to absorb about. Okay. And we have here, okay, so we've got the popular ones. Actually, all of these are really popular. I'd say the competitive ones would be dental assisting and dental hygiene, and the rest, they're also very popular. In fact, for PSW January, we are on their wait list already. Okay, so the next category would be our postgraduate program. So this would offer an array of different faculties from business, ranging from business, ICT, and of course, health as well. So if you could also do a, it's not bundled because what bundled is you do it in advance, wherein you apply for a program, um, a combination of 1 year in this and 1 year in that. So when you receive your LOA, you have a 2 year program. With Confed, we do not offer such, but you could top up or add later on for another program. You don't have to decide right now. Let's take, for example, you have decided on the first year to take health informatics, which is a 1 year program. And then while studying, or probably you're on your first or second semester, you have realized that, hang on, I wanted to take another program. And what you've realized is what you wanted to take a certificate program in medical lab assistant or personal support worker, and that is also possible. And you can decide later on, okay, to go with the second program, and that would also allow you, or you'll be eligible with a 2 to 3 year postgraduate work. Okay, so that is for the postgraduate programs that we offer at Confed College. Hey, and for the scholarships, we are currently offering. This is for the Filipino applicants, and we do have 500 CAD entry bursary for certificate and diploma program. The mechanics for this will be pretty much straightforward. The same documents that you submit when you apply for the college. But the for the postgraduate, which is 750, it differs because for this one you would need to have IELTS of 6.5 across overall and 6.0 per score band, and you would need a GPA of 2.50. That is for if you wanted to apply for entry bursary scholarship for postgraduate. 500 again for certificate and diploma program. Okay, so that is the scholarship that we are currently offering. Kindly stay put because across the year you might probably receive some information on different scholarships. So that indeed happened. In fact, last year, wherein we launched as our way to say thank you to our partners and now and the Filipino applicants, especially for the healthcare and community faculty. We have provided as much as 2,000 Canadian dollars uh, bursary to our students. So we're hoping that these kinds of news or great news would happen also in the future. Okay, and for the payment structure, as you can see from the screen, this is an example. Let's say the tuition fee on average is 16.5 a year, and you have an option to settle 1 year, but there's also a second option wherein you can settle with a minimum deposit fee of 2,500, And then you can, once you have collated all your documents for student permit, you can already submit and lodge for your student permit application. Okay. Right. So that is for the payment structure. And okay, and this is the final slide. So if you will proceed with Fortress and Confederation College, what are the perks that are you going to receive? These are a few of which on the right part of the screen. So, number one is that you are no longer required to pay an application fee. If you DIY, you would have to pay 95 CAD, but if you go with Fortress, we are waiving your application fee, and of course we do not need IELTS. We do not need medium of instruction or MOI. If you are a college graduate or you are a K-12 graduate, and lastly, if you are from K-10 or Old Philippine curriculum, plus 2 years of qualification post-secondary, you don't need IELTS and MOI. And there's no deferral fee if there might be some need to defer your intake or move an intake. No additional fees, no reapplication, no whatsoever. Just inform Fortress and we'll accommodate you. And then next one is we also welcome mature applicants or also and rather we welcome mature applicants and high school graduates from the old Philippine curriculum. You don't need to do for the high school graduate of old Philippine curriculum or K-10, you don't need to submit you don't need to do a bridging program or in-house test. You can go straight to diploma or certificate program straight up, but you need to submit Duolingo or IELTS. So that is ideally the main difference in comparison to other profile. And but the big deal is that you don't have to do a bridging program, so you're saving 1 year of expense. And the public transportation or the bus, we have a bus pass for you for the international students. You're saving about 1,500 a year. You can allocate that funds for your balikbayan box or maybe for your leisure. And of course, we have also illustrated the different services that we offer at Confed. Our cost of living is quite affordable in comparison to other areas. How can I attest to that? So number one is that you can find rental homes. Let's take, for example, a bungalow home, a two-bedroom. You can find it ranging from 800 to 1,000 Canadian dollar a month. That is really, really affordable. A two-bedroom bungalow that would range from 800 to 1,200. Um, that is very important. Again, when you look for a school, when you look for a location, does it satisfy the overall costing for you, your tuition fee, your cost of living? So that's one thing. And then we also have staggered payment. So that's another key factor. And we've got programs with paid internships or co-op. And we've got employment possibilities at Confed. And last but not the least, we've got multiple possibilities for immigration pathways. It depends again on which category that you would qualify for. It is no smooth sailing, but what is critical is that right now that you need to really, really be cautious about the different eligibility requirements for immigration pathways. Okay, all right. So that is all from my end. Thank you very much once again. My name is Krystel Valenzuela, and I represent Confederation College. Thank you, and back to you, Miss Dale.
All right. Thank you so much for that very informative webinar presentation, Miss Krystel. Krystel. Anyway,
Hi,
let's
thank you.
just check if we have some questions here. Okay, so just reminding everyone before we go through the Q&A na you may book your consultation through the link po in the comment section. Okay? Or
All
if you
right.
have counselors na po na pumontak sa inyo before, you may contact with them or get in touch with them po.
Okay. I'll answer the first question. It says here you should choose a course that will give you visa permanent and not assistant program. Anyone interested should inquire to the Canadian Embassy the skills they need, or else you'll be wasting your time and money. So yes, this is exactly what the purpose of our permanent residency planning. We don't want you, and the free consultation, free webinars as well. That's the whole reason we try to disseminate as much information as possible so that you can make a complete and well-educated decision before spending anything. So we 100% agree with that. And that's the main reason we do our permanent residency planning.
All right. So another question here po is what kind of financial commitments are needed to study in Canada? Can the
Okay.
student bring their sorry, sige, go Miss Krystel.
Sige. The financial commitment will change per situation, but as mentioned earlier in the presentation, we found a reliable source wherein you can compute your proof of funds. Perhaps we can put this down in the chat section. It's study DIY/calculator. And yes, the student can bring their family and get employment while studying. So the student can work part-time during term time and full-time during holiday breaks. The joining spouse can go under an open work permit and they can work full-time. The children can study, dependent children, so that's below 18, can study for free most of the time. Most of the time, it's still for free.
All right. So another question here. I think this is very very general na question. What makes a great SOP po daw?
What makes a great SOP? Honesty, sincerity, and integrity. I can't give like very specific answers, but they will look at how genuine you are. I think you have to present yourself in a genuine way.
Yes, and then if you will push through with Fortress po, we'll give you guide questions and samples naman. So we will help you make a great study plan.
Can I add something to that?
Yes, go ahead.
Right. So that's why it is very critical for us to understand the program that we're gonna go for.
Yes.
It's So how do we do that? So we provide the resources naman by illustrating what subjects and courses that you're going to undergo in 1 year or 2 year duration. So you need to know, will this be really essential will it play important factor when I write with my SOP or study plan? So kailangan ma-digest natin to kasi it would really reflect. And another factor is that I would not recommend a program if they're just ideally looking for PR pathway.
Yeah.
Kasi what if it's just force? If you're looking at that angle and you're doing the program, you will suffer. You're not enjoying it. You're going to invest your time and money. You might also make sure that the program that you would go for is something that you would really, really see yourself 5, 10 years from now. Kasi kung successful naman that you would finish your program, you commence with a program, and then you will find employment opportunities, PR will follow. Diba?
That's correct.
So, right? Mm.
I also want to add that the preparation for your study plan will be part of the PR planning that we will give the students. There's a part there that will direct you to certain websites and certain things to read. So also that you understand the course that you're getting into. Baka kasi yung title lang is attractive and all of that. So it's part of our PR planning as well to make sure na parang it's a good decision. It's a well-educated decision. Choice. Okay.
Awesome, yeah.
Okay, so
go ahead.
I think we have one question lang po dito. Is it possible to study for free in Canada?
For the dependent children of a study permit holder, then it is possible to study for free. There are some scholarships by the Canadian government, although you would have to inquire directly with through the embassy website. So there. I also saw a question earlier about the SDS requirements for IELTS, so I just want to address this as well. The SDS requirement is 6 in all band scores. It doesn't matter if it is if it's the academic or general module, both are accepted. Okay. As for the PR application, we'll leave this advice to our migration lawyer. You'll find this in the PR plan as well.
Okay. So I think that's all. Yun lang yung mga questions na meron tayo for now. So this webinar naman po will be available in our Facebook page for 2 weeks. So if you wanna rewatch it, pwede niyo pong i-check yung Facebook page namin. And
All right.
then, baka may gusto pa pong magpahabol ng questions? You can
I
type
think
in.
I also saw a question earlier flashed in the screen. It's whether you can have a GIC or guaranteed investment certificate even if you're applying for the regular stream. So the answer is yes. You can also purchase a GIC so that you can your funds are easily accessible once you get to Canada. That is also okay. And I know I promised earlier. Medyo nag-brain fog lang ako. I forgot the approval rate for the Philippines. The approval rate is 70%, so that's very good. But also, I have to say, the approval rate of Fortress is at 95%. So that is very, very good. This is across the board for all the countries that we cater to. You can check it on if you want like some sort of validity. You can go on the website of Immigration New Zealand and you'll find the approval rate of different agencies. So at least you get some sort of validation of that claim. So
Yes.
that's it for me.
Add ko lang, Miss Krystel, kanina you were discussing about doon sa parang service ni Fortrust. So what I've noticed lang din as a counselor kasi most of our students, what they really like about Fortrust or our service, parang we really think the application as ours po. So parang
Correct.
minsan may nababasa rin ako na comment sa ibang group, sabi nila doon, pag sa Fortress ka daw, feeling nila yung application, mas concerned pa yung
Yes.
counselor or yung visa nila sa application nila. So ganun, yung parang
Oo.
same goal talaga tayo with the students.
Yes. I 100% agree with that, and I really feel that's what more than anything, more than the PR plan, more than yung mga services and all of that, I think that's what makes us different in the true essence. And I think you feel it from the very start. I mean, it's one of our core values to give sincere service. Like, I think we're one of the few agencies that will tell you upfront, wag na lang. Even if we will tell you, wag na lang. Don't waste your time here, or this isn't the pathway for you, or pwede ka na mag-apply, diretso PR ka na if we feel that you can, right? So
Yeah.
I think more than anything, I think that should be the main takeaway here. But anyway, thank you, Krystel, for joining us. Dale, thank you again for moderating this webinar. If you have any questions, reach out to us. Earlier, we flashed our contact details. You can get in touch through there as well. Send us a message on Facebook, and the counselor will get in touch with you within 24 to 48 hours. So we've run for like an hour and an hour and a half. So thank you guys for staying with us. I see we still have like a good number of viewers. Again, if you want to watch it again, it will be on Facebook for the next few days, next few weeks. But better yet, just reach out to us for a personalized consultation. Thank you,
Alright, so
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Krysel, Ms. Dale, and
Thank you, Dale.
Fortress. Have a
Have a
good day.
good day.
Keep safe.